Hello, how are you? I'm a little tired. Sit down, please. I'd like to speak English today too, to improve my speaking skill. Let's get it started. Today, it is on May 12th, 2024. It's on Sunday and rainy. How are you spending Sunday? Are you enjoying your weekend? Or have you got a work or school today? Or are you going to join a contest today? Because many contests are inclined to be held on Sunday. Or have you got no plan for today? It depends on your schedule. It's all up to you. It depends on you. It's all up to you. It's dependent on you. It's been raining since last week. It has been raining since last week. It's been sunny since last week. She is complaining about her lack of time recently. She is always complaining about a lack of time, which can be used for her hobbies. The old building was blown up by bombs as a way to take it down. The balloon blew up in the sky. The balloon blew up in the sky. The rocket is designed to blow itself up if failed in the sky. Keep away from the unidentified object. Keep off from the unidentified object. Stay away from the unidentified object. It might be blow up. It might blow up. If you persist in making fun of me like that, I will blow up. I will finally blow up. The microwave oven blew eggs up inside. I sometimes experience microwave oven blowing up eggs by mistake. The microwave oven blew up eggs. The microwave oven blew up eggs. The microwave oven blew eggs up. The microwave oven blew eggs up. The microwave oven blew eggs up. The microwave oven blew up the eggs. The microwave oven blew up eggs. 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 The bombs blew up the old building as a way to take it down. I sometimes watch an old building blowing up by bombs as a way to take it down efficiently and cost efficiently, I think. The old building was blown up by bombs or dynamites as a way to take it down. Bombs are sometimes used as a way to blow up an old building to take it down. Bombs or dynamites are sometimes used as a way to blow up a building, old building. Bombs or dynamites, as far as I know, are used to take down old buildings. I saw a futon being blown away by strong wind. I saw leaflets blown off by a strong wind. Blow it up, blow up it, blow it up, blow it up. Blow it up, blow it up, blow it up, blow it up, blow up, blow it 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 up. The microwave oven blew eggs up. The microwave oven blew eggs up, blew eggs up, blew eggs up. The microwave oven blew up eggs. 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 The microwave oven blew up the eggs. The microwave oven blew the eggs up. The microwave oven blew up eggs. The microwave oven blew the eggs up. Even subtle sparks can bring about fire, cause fire, give rise to fire. Even faint sparks can bring about fire, can bring fire about, can bring fire about. Even little sparks, even few sparks can initiate fire, can bring about fire, can bring fire about. Some particular food bring about itchiness on my skin, bring itchiness on my skin about. Snoring sound never failed to bring about anger, irritation. Snoring sound never failed to bring irritation about. Snoring sound never failed to bring about irritation. Snoring sound never failed to bring about irritation. Snoring sound never failed to bring irritation about. Irritation about. Negligence will bring about a mistake more frequently. Negligence will bring an accident about more frequently. Dropping yen to US dollar brought about some companies going bankrupt. Dropping yen brought about me not being able to go to a foreign country. Drunk driving brought about car accident. Drunk driving brought a car accident about. Being in a comfortable zone might bring about the drop in brain activity. Being in a comfortable zone might bring the drop in the brain activity about. The heavy rain brought about floods. The heavy rain brought floods about. Floods. Flood. The heavy rain caused flood. The heavy rain gave rise to floods. The heavy rain brought about flood. The heavy rain brought floods about. The heavy rain brought about floods in many areas. The heavy rain have an effect on many areas, ending up bringing about floods. The heavy rain brought about floods. The heavy rain brought floods about. The heavy rain brought about floods. The heavy rain brought floods about. The heavy rain brought floods about. The heavy rain brought about flood. The heavy rain brought floods about. 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 The heavy rain brought about floods about. The heavy rain brought about floods. Flood. The heavy rain brought flood about. 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 The heavy rain brought about flood. The heavy rain brought about flood. Is it alright? Bring back the leaflet home. Is it alright to bring the leaflets back home? I'm looking forward to you bringing back a lot of memories from the country, from the trip. I'm looking forward to hearing from you soon. Sincerely yours. Bringing back what we have borrowed to the owner within the limited time is, of course, common sense. Bringing back something we borrowed from others to the owner by the limited time is common sense. Of course, sure thing. Have you ever brought back your friend's notebook or pen by mistake? Have you brought back your friend's pen or notebook home by mistake? Have you brought back your friend's pen or notebook home by mistake? Have you ever brought back your friend's notebook or textbook or pen home by mistake, accidentally? By accidentally. Bringing back all of the textbooks home every day is itself so tough. Bringing back all of the textbooks from school every day is itself so tough, heavy, a kind of training, a sort of a training. Bringing back all of the textbooks home on a daily basis is so tough, is a kind of training. It is a sort of training. Bringing back all of the textbooks from school daily is itself a huge task, training, or torture. Bringing all of the textbooks back home every day is itself so tough. Bringing back all of the textbooks home is so hard. Bringing all of the textbooks home every day is so tough. Bringing all of the textbooks back home is itself so tough. It was such an amazing news that the space probe succeeded in bringing back particles from the asteroid back home, back the Earth. I really appreciate the feat and the relentless effort by the team and the staffs. It was such an amazing feat that the space probe had succeeded in bringing back particles from the asteroid far away from the Earth. It was such an amazing feat that the space probe had succeeded in bringing the particles from the asteroid back home, back to the Earth. It was amazing that the space probe had succeeded in bringing the particles from the asteroid back to the Earth. The researchers have been investigating the particles since they got them. I'm super excited to know what will be discovered from the particles. I cannot wait the result. I'm always wondering if there are creatures other than humans. I'm always wondering if there are creatures other than the Earth. But even if there exists a creature other than the Earth, maybe the appearance will be very totally different from what I expect or predict, suppose, guess. Bringing what we have borrowed back to the owner is a common sense. Bringing what we have borrowed back to the owner is common sense. Bringing back what we have borrowed to the owner is a common sense. Bringing back what we have borrowed to the owner is common sense. Bringing back what we have borrowed to the owner is a common sense. Of course, sure thing. Bringing what we have borrowed back to the owner is a common sense. Bringing what we have borrowed back to the owner. Bringing what we have borrowed back to the owner is normal. Bringing back what we have borrowed to the owner is normal, of course. Have you ever brought maybe your friend's pen back home by mistake, by accidentally? I had a friend bringing back any leaflets with the idol. I had a friend who always brought back leaflets with the idol home. I had a friend who always brought leaflets with the idol back home. She always got anything with the idol as a collection. I used to have a friend who, whenever she found a leaflet or something with the idol, she brought them back home. She brought them back home. She brought them home. She brought them back home. She brought the leaflets back home. I used to have a friend who brought back anything with the idol home whenever she found them. I was amazed to the news that the space probe had succeeded in bringing back the particles from the asteroid to the Earth. Bringing back what we have borrowed to the owner is a common sense. What do you want me to bring back from the country as a souvenir? Sorry, I forgot to bring back that laptop PC from the office. Maybe tomorrow. Did you used to bring back all of the textbooks from the school, or did you left them in your desk? Did you used to bring back all of the textbooks from the school, or did you leave all of the textbooks in the desk? Did you used to bring back all of the textbooks from school, or leave them at school? Bringing back all of the textbooks from school was so tough. Bringing back all of the textbooks from school was so tough. Bringing all of the textbooks back home was so tough. Bringing all of the textbooks back home was so tough. Bringing back all of the textbooks to home from school was so tough. Bringing all of the textbooks back home was itself so tough. Bringing back all of the textbooks home was so tough. Bringing back all of the textbooks home from school was so tough. Bringing back all of the textbooks home from school was so tough. Bringing back all of the textbooks home from school was so tough. Bringing back all of the textbooks home from school was so tough. Bringing back all of the textbooks home was so tough. Bring it back to him. I occasionally brought back my friend's pen home and brought it back to him on the following day. I occasionally brought back my friend's pen home. I occasionally brought back my friend's notebook home and brought it back to him on the following day. I on occasion brought back my friend's pen home. I occasionally brought my friend's pen back home by mistake and returned it to him on the following day. I once in a while brought back my friend's pen home. I one of these days brought my friend's pen back home accidentally and brought it back to him on the following day. I sometimes brought back my friend's pen home and brought it back to him. I'll bring it back to you tomorrow at school. Don't forget that you haven't brought me back. The calculator. Don't forget that you haven't brought back the video game to me. Don't forget that you haven't brought back the video game to me. Don't forget that you haven't brought the video game back to me. Don't forget that you haven't brought the video game back to me. Don't forget that you haven't brought back the video game to me. Don't forget that you haven't brought the video game back to me. Don't forget that you haven't brought the video game back to me. I used to bring back all of the textbooks home from school. I used to bring all of the textbooks back home from school. Bringing back what we have borrowed to the owner is a common sense. Bringing back all of the things we have borrowed to the owner is a common sense. Bringing what we have borrowed back to the owner is a common sense. His endless efforts brought in winning the Nobel Prize for Physics. Years of efforts into the field brought in a lot of benefits in the company. Long-term service brought in a lot of reliance in the company. Long-term service brought a lot of reliance in the company. I am envious of those who are bringing a lot of money. Bringing a lot of money. I am envious of those who are bringing a lot of money. Bringing a lot of money. The eloquent defense by the attorney brought in not guilty for the accused. The eloquent defense by the attorney brought in not guilty to the defendant. The eloquent defense by the attorney brought not guilty in to the accused. His unique way of approach to the YouTube videos brought in a lot of followers. Brought a lot of followers in. His unique style of videos brought in a lot of followers. Brought a lot of followers in. Drastic change in the range of products sold in the company brought in a lot of revenues. A drastic shift in the range of products in the company brought in a lot of revenues, profits, sales. Changing his occupation brought in twofold benefits, twofold monthly salary for him. Changing his profession brought in threefold monthly salary to him. Changing a job brought in threefold monthly salary to him. Changing a job brought twofold monthly salary in to him. Changing an occupation brought twofold monthly salary in to him. Changing his job brought twice monthly salary in to him. Changing his job brought a lot of monthly salaries into him. Changing his job brought in threefold monthly salary. Changing his job brought threefold monthly salary in to him. Incredible curiosity and persistency of him brought in winning the Nobel Prize for Physics. His passion, enthusiasm, and incredible curiosity and persistency brought him in Nobel Prize. His persistency and curiosity brought in developing the gadget. The student passion into learning brought in perfect score on the test. The student incredible curiosity in mathematics brought in perfect score on the test. Her a lot of effort into the learning brought in perfect score on the test. His long hour study on a daily basis brought perfect score in on the test. The heavy rain brought in flood. The heavy rain brought in flood. Flood. The heavy rain brought flood in. The heavy rain brought about flood. The heavy rain brought flood about. The heavy rain brought in flood. The heavy rain brought flood in. Eating a lot of lunch brought in drowsiness. Eating a lot of lunch brought drowsiness in. Collaboration with a famous YouTuber brought in earning a lot of followers on the day. Collaborating with a famous YouTuber brought in a lot of followers. Collaborating with a famous YouTuber brought a lot of followers in. He brought in a lot of money. He brought a lot of money in. He brought in a lot of money. He brought a lot of money in through social networking service. I am so envious of those bringing in a lot of money through SNS. I am envious of those who are bringing in a lot of money through SNS. I am so envious of those bringing a lot of money in through SNS. I am envious of those who are bringing in a lot of money through SNS. I am envious of those who are bringing a lot of money in through SNS. If you take the video with 4K, it will bring out the spec of the PC, the camera. If you edit 4K video with the PC, it will bring out the real spec of the PC. Teachers ought to bring about good features from students. Teachers ought to bring out good side from each student. Coffee helps me to bring out motivation. Coffee helps me to bring out motivation. Coffee helps me to bring out motivation. Coffee helps me to bring motivation out. Coffee helps me to bring out motivation. Coffee helps me to bring. Coffee helps me. Coffee helps to bring motivation out. Coffee helps to bring out motivation. Coffee helps to bring out motivation. Coffee helps bring out motivation. Coffee helps bring motivation out. if you take pics in the bright environment, you can bring out the spec of the camera. If you zoom the camera closer, you can bring out the high spec of the camera. If you watch the video with 8K high recognition, you can bring out the high spec of the PC. There are some famous lines left by famous figures from the past, which are strong enough to bring out courage, brave. There are some lines left by famous figures which are strong enough to bring out my courage, motivation, and so on. Energy drink for me doesn't work to bring out energy from me. Energy drink never bring out energy from me. Although no medicine worked for him, when he got the monthly salary, the amount of his monthly salary brought out his energy much better. The tremendous amount of bonus brought out a lot of energy from him. The surroundings where your grand piano is placed is not perfect enough to bring out the real sound of the piano. The surroundings where the grand piano is placed is not good enough to bring out the beautiful sound of the piano. The sound is too small to bring out the high spec of the speakers. Teachers should bring out good side from each student. Teachers should bring out good features from the students. Teachers should bring good side out from each student. Teachers should bring good side out from each student. Teachers should bring good side out from each student. Coffee helps me to bring out motivation. Coffee helps me to bring motivation out. Bring motivation out. Bring out motivation. Bring out motivation. Bring motivation out. Bring out motivation. Bring out motivation. Bring motivation out. Bring out motivation. Bring motivation out. Bring out motivation. Bring motivation out. Regular exercise helps me to bring out motivation. Moderate exercise can bring out motivation from me. Moderate exercise can bring out motivation from me. Moderate exercise helps me to bring motivation out. Moderate exercise bring out motivation from me. Moderate exercise bring motivation out from me. There are some methods or ways to bring out motivation. There are some ways to bring motivation out. Moderate exercise helps me to bring out motivation. Moderate exercise helps me to bring out motivation. Moderate exercise helps me to bring out motivation. Moderate exercise helps to bring motivation out. Moderate exercise helps me to bring out motivation. Moderate exercise helps to bring out motivation. Moderate exercise helps bring out motivation. Moderate exercise helps bring motivation out. Where were you brought up? I was brought up in Japan. I was brought up in Japan. I was brought up by my grandparents most of the time. Where were you brought up? My grandmother makes it her routine to bring up vegetables in the garden. My grandmother makes it her routine to water the vegetation in the garden. I'm wondering how hard bringing up a child is, because I'm not a parent, so maybe I will know after becoming a parent. I'm wondering how hard bringing up a child is. I'm wondering how tough, difficult bringing up a baby is. Bringing baby up, bringing a baby up, bringing a baby up. Do you know how difficult bringing up a baby is? Do you know how difficult bringing a baby up is? Bringing up a baby, bringing up a baby, bringing a baby up, bringing a baby up, bringing a baby up, bring a baby up, bring baby up. I was brought up in Japan. I was raised in Japan. I was brought up in Japan. I was brought up in Japan. I was brought up in Japan. My parents brought me up in Japan. My parents brought me up in Japan. What are the farmers bringing up in the garden? What are the farmers bringing up in the paddy field? Rice? What are the farmers bringing up in the field? Sweet potato, maybe? What are the farmers bringing up in the garden? They are bringing up corns. They are bringing corns up. They are bringing corns up there. My parents brought me up in Japan. My parents brought me up in Japan. I was brought up in Japan. Please remind me to call up the client after eating lunch. Please remind me to call the client up after eating lunch. Please call me up. Please remind me to call up the client. Call up the client. Call the client up. Immediately, instantly, now, right now. Call up the client. Call up the client. Call up the client. Call the client up. Call the client up. I hate call somebody up by phone. I hate to call somebody up. I hate to call 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 somebody up. I hate to call up somebody. I hate to call up anybody. I hate to call up anybody. I hate to call anybody up. I hate to call anybody up. I hate to call up anybody. I hate to call up anybody. I hate to call anybody up. I hate to call anybody up. I hate to call up anybody. I hate to call up anybody. I hate to call up anybody. I hate to call anybody up. I hate to call anybody up. I hate to call anybody up. I hate to call up anybody. I dislike calling up anybody. I hate calling up anybody. I dislike to call up anybody. I dislike calling anybody up. Telephone up. Telephone. I don't like to telephone anybody. I don't like to telephone anybody. Due to the inclement weather, the event was called off. The principal made a resolution to call off the event. The principal of the elementary school made a resolution to call the sports meeting off for the inclement weather. The principal of the primary school made a resolution to call off the event at all, altogether. Call it off. Call the events up. Call the events off for security reason. The festival was called off for a security reason. The festival was called off for a security reason. The host of the festival decided not to hold the event for a security reason. The host of the festival decided to call off the event. The host of the event decided to call the festival off. Thus, the host of the event decided to call it off for a security reason. The principal of the primary school called the school excursion off. The principal of the primary school called off the school excursion, school trip. Call the school trip off. Call the school trip off. Call off the school excursion. The principal of the elementary school called off the school trip. Called off the school trip. Called the school trip off. The principal of the elementary school called off the school trip for security reason. The principal of the elementary school called the school trip off. School trip off. School trip off. Called the school trip off. School trip off. The principal of the elementary school called the school trip off. Called the school trip off. The association taking over the event decided to call it off. The association taking over the event decided to call it off. Call it off. Call it off. The association in charge of the event called off the event. Please remind me to call up the client. Please remind me to call up the client. Please remind me to call up the client. Please remind me to call the client up. Call him up. I hate to call anybody up. I hate to call anybody up. I hate to call up anybody. I hate to call up anybody. I hate to call anybody up. I hate calling up anybody. I hate calling anybody up. I hate calling up anybody. I hate calling anybody up. I hate calling up anybody. I hate calling anybody up. I hate calling up anybody. I hate calling anybody up. I hate calling up. I hate calling anybody up. I hate calling up anybody. Do you mind calling up anybody? Do you mind calling anybody up? Would you mind in calling up anybody? The person. Would you mind in calling up the client? Would you mind calling up the person? Would you mind calling up the person? Would you mind calling the person up? Would you mind if I called up tonight? Would you mind if I called up tonight? Would you mind me opening the window? Would you mind me calling you up tonight? Would you mind me calling you up tonight? Would you mind me calling you up tonight? Would you mind me calling up you tonight? Would you mind me calling you up 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 tonight? Would you mind if I called you tonight? Would you mind if I called you tonight? Would you mind if I called you up tonight? Don't call me up. Don't call me up tonight. I will be busy working with the work. I will be busy working on the video editing. Whenever I call up the shop, the line is always busy. No matter when you call the shop up, you will find it busy. Call up the shop. Call up the shop. Call the shop up. Call the shop up. Call up the shop. Call the shop up. Call up the shop. Call the shop up. And saying is easy, but putting it into practice is very difficult. Saying is easy, but putting it into practice is difficult. Saying is easy, but putting it into practice is difficult. Put it into practice is difficult. Put it into practice is difficult. Put it into practice difficult. Put it into practice difficult. Saying is easy, but carrying it out is difficult. Carry it out immediately. Carry out the project immediately now. Carry the study out. Carry out the study. Carry out study. Carry out study. Carry the study out. Carry the study out. Carry out what you wanna do now. Carry what you wanna do out. Carry what you wanna do out. Carry it out. Carry it out. Carry on with your work. Go ahead with the work. Proceed with the work. Proceed with your work. Carry on with your work. Carry on with the work. Carry on doing. The legend will carry on as long as we pass down. Go ahead with your work. Carry out. Carry it out. Carry out what you want to do. Carry out what you said. Carry out what you said. Carry what out said. Carry what you said out. Catch what you said out. Carry it out. Carry it out. Carry what you said 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 out. Carry out what you said. Carry out what you said. Carry out what you said. Carry it out. Carry out what you said. Carry out what you decided. Carry out what you decided. Carry what you decided out. 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 This is the way I solve the problems. This is how I solve the problems. This is how I solve the problems. This is the way I solve the problems. Solve the problems. Carry it out. Carry out what you decided. Cut down on the number of figures and the number of employees. Cut down employees. Cut down employees. The company went so far as to cut down employees in order to avoid the recession, in order to get through the recession. Cutting down a lot of trees would be troublesome problem. Cut many employees down. The company went so far as to cut many employees down with a view to getting through the recession. The company was obliged to cut down employees for poor sales. The company was compelled to cut down employees for poor sales and recession. The company was forced to cut employees down for poor sales. The company was obliged to cut employees down for poor sales. The company was obliged to cut down employees. You should cut down waste of time. You should cut down the time spent for nothing. You should cut down the time spent on nothing. You should cut down the time spent for playing video games. You should cut down the time spent for using a smartphone. You should cut the time down. You should cut the time used for using a smartphone down. I watched a staff cutting down a tree in the forest. I saw a couple of staffs cutting down the tree in the forest. I saw some staffs cutting down a huge tree in the forest. Cut employees down. Cut down employees. Some companies were obliged to cut down employees for poor sales. Some companies were compelled to cut down employees for poor sales. The company was forced to cut down employees for poor sales. The company was obliged to cut down employees for poor sales. Cut down waste of time. Cut down waste of time. New technologies are contributing to cut down waste of time. The new approach to the traffic congestion might cut down the time waiting in the line. The cutting-edge technology might cut down the time spent for waiting in the line. The state of the technology may cut down the time spent for waiting in the line. Cut down the time spent on gambling. Cut down the number going crazy, going to the party. Cut down the number going to the parties. Cut down the time going to the party. Cut the times down. Cut it down. The company was obliged to cut down its employees for poor sales. The company was forced to cut employees down for poor sales. The company was compelled to cut down its employees down for poor sales. Can you figure it out? I could hardly figure it out. I could hardly figure out the lecture. I could hardly figure out the lecture. I could scarcely figure it out. I could scarcely figure out the lecture made by the professor. I could hardly figure out the lecture. I could scarcely figure out the lecture. I could scarcely figure the lecture out. I could scarcely figure it out. I could hardly figure the lecture out. I could hardly figure the lecture out. I could scarcely figure the lecture out. I could scarcely figure out the lecture. I could scarcely figure out the lecture. I could next to figure the lecture out. I could hardly figure it out. Figuring something out takes me twice or three times as long as others. Figuring directions out takes me 2 or 3-fold longer than others. Has it been figured out already? Has it been already figured out? Not yet. Has it been figured out? How long will it take for the problem to be solved, figured out, resolved? Figure it now. Figure it out immediately. Figure out the problem immediately. Without your help, I could not have figured it out. Without your help, I could not have figured out the problem. Without your advice and help, I could not have figured it out. Without your help, I could not have figured out the problems. If it had not been for your help, I could not have figured it out. Had it not been for your help, I could not have figured it out. Had it not been for your help, I couldn't have figured out the problems. No one could figure it out except for me. No one has figured it out yet. No one can figure it out yet. No one can figure it out yet. No one can figure out the problems yet. Working in the patent company, I helped the person to figure out the problem. How can I figure it out? How can I figure it out? Exposing myself to the field which I am not interested in, I helped me to figure it out. Exposing myself to embarking on the field which I am not interested in, I helped me figure the problems out. 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 Figure it 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 out. Figure out it. Figure out the problems. I want the problems to figure it out. I want problems to figure it out. I would like the problems, a pile of problems, a heap of problems to figure it out. After filling in the document, please submit it to the Windows C. After filling out the form, please hand it in to the person with red hair. After filling in the form, please pass down it to the person with the sunglasses. After filling in the paper, please submit it to the Windows C. After filling in the paper, please turn it in to the Windows C. Have you already turned it in? Have you already turned in the the thesis to the professor? Have you already submitted the thesis to the professor? Have you already turned in the thesis to the professor? Have you already turned your thesis in to the professor? Have you already turned in the thesis to the professor? Have you already turned in the thesis to the professor? Have you already turned the thesis in to the professor? Have you already turned the thesis in to the professor? Have you already handed in the thesis to the professor? Have you already handed in the thesis to the professor? Have you already handed the thesis in to the professor? Fill in the form. Fill the form in. Fill out the form. Fill the form out. Fill the form out. Fill out. Fill in the form. Fill the form out. Fill the form in. Fill the form in. Fill me in on the information. Fill me in on the information. Fill in the documents. Fill the documents in. Fill in the documents. Fill in the documents. Fill out the documents. Fill out the documents. Fill in the documents. Fill the documents out. Fill the documents in. Fill the form in. Fill the form in. Fill in the form. Fill in the form. Fill out the form. Fill out the form. Fill the form out. Fill form out. Fill the form out. Fill in the form. Fill the form in. Fill out the form. Fill the form out. Fill the form out. Fill the form in. Fill the form in. Fill the documents in. Fill the documents in. Fill the form in. Fill the documents out. Fill the documents out. Fill the form out. After filling in the document, please submit it to the Windows C. After filling the documents out, please turn them in to the window B. After filling out the form, please pass it out to the person with the red hair. After filling the documents out, please turn them in. Please turn them in. Please turn them in. Please turn them in to the window A. After filling in the documents, please submit it to the window C. Submit it to the window C. After filling out the documents, please turn them in. Please turn them in to the window C. Would you mind filling up the cup with coffee? How would you like me to cut your hair? Please cut both sides like this, okay? And make volume toward the back. Okay? Please fill up me with happiness. Please fill me up with happiness. Please fill me up with happiness. Please fill me up with a lot of money. Please fill my bank account up with my money. Please fill up my bank account with a lot of money. Please fill up my bank account with a lot of money. Please fill my bank account up with a lot of money. Please fill up my bank account with a lot of money. Please fill my bank account up with a lot of money. Please fill up my bank account with a lot of money. Please fill up my bank account with a lot of money. Please fill up the bathtub with wine. Please fill the bathtub up with wine. Please fill up the bathtub with wine. Please fill up the bathtub with wine. Please fill the bathtub with wine. Please fill up the bathtub with wine. Please fill the bathtub up with wine. Please fill me up with money. 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 Please fill up my bank account with money. Please fill me up with happiness. Please fill me up with happiness. Please fill up my bank account with a lot of money. Please fill up my bank account with a lot of money. Please fill my bank account up with a lot of money. As much as $1 trillion or even yen. And both are okay. Either one is okay. But considering the amount, $1 trillion will be $1 trillion US dollar will be better. Fill up my bank account with a lot of money. Fill my bank account up. Fill my bank account up with a lot of money. Fill up the bathtub with wine. Fill the bathtub up with wine. Fill up my bank account with money. Please look out for stranger who is talking to you. Please watch out for a stranger talking to you. They might deceive you. They might try to deceive you. They might strive to deceive you. They might look to deceive you. They might seek to deceive you. They might attempt to deceive you. So we should know better than to be deceived. We should know better than to be deceived. Don't be deceived by a stranger on the street. Don't be deceived by a stranger. Never be deceived by a stranger on the street. I've been deceived and made fun of in the past or now from the past. But we can learn from the lessons. I've been deceived and betrayed from many people, but I learned from the lessons. So I never put my trust in others easily, concisely, in short. I never put my trust in a stranger. They might deceive me, betray me. The thief deprived the old lady of money, as much as 1 million yen. The thief deprived the old lady of 1 million yen. The old lady deprived of her 1 million yen. Deprived of 1 million yen. Deprived of 1 million yen. I know better than to be deceived by the scammer. I know better than to open the skeptical files. We should know better than to open skeptical files. We should know better than to open doubtful files. We should know better than to open skeptical files. We should know better than to open skeptical files. We should know better than to open skeptical files. We ought to know better than to open skeptical files. We ought to know better than to open skeptical files. We ought to know better than to believe in a stranger on the street. We should know better than to believe in a stranger on the street. We should know better than to be deceived by a scammer. We should know better than to deposit such amount of money into a strange skeptical bank account. We should know better than to deposit a lot of money, transfer a lot of money to a skeptical bank account. We ought to know better than to transfer money to the skeptical bank account. I was betrayed by him. I should have known better than to trust him. I was betrayed by many classmates. I should have known better than to trust them. I should have known better than to trust them. I should have known better than to trust them. I should have known better than to trust them. I should have known better than to trust him. I should have known better than to trust them. I should have known better than to trust them. I should have known better than to trust them. I ought to have known better than to trust them. I ought to have known better than to trust them. I ought to have known better than to trust them. I ought to have known better than to trust them. I ought to have known better than to trust them. I ought to have known better than to trust them. I ought to have known better than to trust them. I ought to have known better than to trust them. I know better than to put my trust in a stranger on the street. I know better than to open a skeptical file. I know better than to open a skeptical file. I know better than to transfer such amount of money to a skeptical bank account. I know better than to trust in such a person. I know better than to remark the delicate problem at the meeting. I know better than to bring up such a delicate topic in the meeting. I know better than to bring up such a delicate topic in the meeting. I regret having wasted a lot of my adolescence time. I regret having played video games. I regret having wasted my time playing video games all day long, which stole the time for studying. Ending up failing in the examination, ending up failing in the examination. I regret having spent much time playing on video games. I regret having spent much time on playing video games. Life is a kind of a series of regrets. We regret the past and worried about the future. The best prescription to the problem is to focus on now. I regret wasting a good deal of my teens playing video games. I regret having wasted a great deal of my teens. I regret having done nothing during summer vacation. I regret having done nothing during the summer vacation. I regret having done nothing during summer vacation. I regret having done nothing during summer vacation. I regret having done nothing. I regret doing nothing during summer vacation. I regret having done nothing during summer vacation. I regret doing nothing during summer vacation. I regret having done nothing during summer vacation. I regret doing nothing. I regret doing nothing during summer vacation. I regret not exchanging contact with her at the platform of the train station. If we had exchanged our each contact, we could communicate, we could get along with each other now. I regret not exchanging the contact with her. I regret not exchanging contact information with her at the platform of the train station. If I had done, we could get along with each other now. I could get along with her now. I regret not having ate more food because I'm feeling hungry. I regret not studying harder. I regret not having studied harder when I was a student. I regret not having studied harder. I regret not having studied harder. I regret not studying harder. I regret not having studied harder. I regret not having studied harder. We are sorry to inform you that the flight has been cancelled. We regret to inform you that the flight has been cancelled. We are sorry to inform you that the flight has been cancelled due to the inclement weather. We regret to inform you that the flight has been cancelled due to the inclement weather. I regret not having studied harder when I was a student. I regret not having studied harder. I regret not having studied harder. I regret not having stopped by the appliance store on my way home tonight because it was closed for good. I regret not having exchanged contact information with her. If I had done, I could get along with her now. I regret not having exchanged contact information with her at the platform of the train station. If I had done, I could get along with her now. I wonder how she is doing now. I cannot look back to my past without getting depressed. I hate to look back on my past. I hate to look back on my adolescence. I hate looking back to my adolescence. I hate looking back at my adolescence. Looking back to my adolescence, it is filled with turbulence, adversities, predicaments, mayhem, chaos, ordeals, hardships, and so on. Looking back on my past, it is full of depression, recession, adversities, ordeal, hardship, predicament, mayhem, chaos. Mayhem, chaos, predicament, adversity. Filled with predicaments, adversity, mayhem, chaos, hardships, ordeal. Okay. I hate to look back on my past. I dislike looking back on my adolescence. I dislike to look back on my adolescence. Adolescence. My adolescence is filled with sadness, recession, predicaments, adversities. My adolescence is filled with adversities, which made me what I am now. Which made me what I am now. Okay, I will finish speaking here. Thank you for watching. See you next time. See you.